everyone, it's Haley, and today I'm going to be talking about my must-reads for high school students. So last year, or earlier this year, I don't entirely remember when, but I did a version of this video, my must-reads for, and I did it for college students. Now I'm currently in university, so that one was a bit easier for me to do. Now this one, I haven't been in high school for a while now. It feels like it's been forever. It really hasn't been that long, but it honestly feels like it's been forever. So it was kind of hard for me to like put myself back in the shoes of a high school student, but I think I was able to do it. Now these books aren't ones that I necessarily read when I was in high school. They're more so books that I think while you're at that point in your life, you can really gain something from them and you can learn something from them. So I think that these are kind of more educational reads, like not in the sense that you're going to learn something about the world from them, but you're going to learn something about yourself in the point of your life that you're at. So with that being said, like usual, if I have any reviews for any of these books, it will be linked down below for you guys, as well as the previous version of this video that I did. And yeah, so let's just get into it. So the first book that I want to talk about, I actually can't find my copy right now, but I wanted to make sure that I didn't forget about it, and that is The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. I know probably like many of you, I read this when I was in high school, and it was one of the most life-changing books that I read when I was in high school, because high school is really when I found my love for reading, because I wasn't always a big reader, and it was really in high school that that love kind of blossomed, and this was one of the books that really helped me to become a lover of reading. And I just felt like I could really relate to the position of the main character, and I found his story to be so interesting and well written. It's told in the form of letters, and you don't know who the letters are to, but it's almost like they're to you, and he's personally telling you everything that's going on in his life as he's trying to fit in, and he doesn't really feel like he fits in anywhere. So I think that like in high school you feel really awkward and you feel like you can't really fit in anywhere, and I think that a lot of high school students really can relate to that feeling, and I think that reading this book would really help you to get over that and kind of see where you fit in and learn that life can be beautiful even if you don't fit in, because sometimes not fitting in is the best part of life. So I think that this one is, if you read only one on this list, then this one should definitely be one of the ones. I can't really decide between this one and a couple of the others because I think this is a really good list. The next book on this list is Looking for Alaska by John Green. This book is near and dear to my heart because I read this in high school for a class. We were doing reading circles and we were allowed to just pick whatever book you wanted and you would go in groups and read it. And so this was the first book by John Green that I read, and I loved it. Absolutely adored it. I still love this story to this day, and it's actually the book that kind of brought my best friend and I together. We were both in the same lit circle and we knew each other before and we were friends, but then we both read this book and then we really became best friends, and we still are now, all these years later. So I really owe a lot to this book. But that being besides the point, I think that you can learn so much from this book because it's about a boy who is going to boarding school and he's completely infatuated with this girl Alaska. And I think this book, as well as John Green's other books, have this kind of same core message, which is that you really don't know about anyone. You can have these expectations for people that you build up, but you'll probably be let down because you really don't know them. So I think that this book does a really great job of getting that message across, as well as his other books. I would highly recommend, particularly Paper Towns and The Fault in Our Stars, because I think they really, all of these books deal with the fact that you don't have to do something absolutely amazing, life-changing, and be remembered by everyone to make an impact in the world, because you can change one person's life, and that's the most important thing. And I think that realizing that you matter to the people who are around you and really love you is a really great thing to realize while you're in high school, because it'll help you to learn and make decisions based on that, and you can realize that the people who you love, your friends and family, come before anything else. And I think that honestly John Green does a great job of getting that message across, and particularly in this book. And I think this book does a really great job of addressing the fact that you don't know a lot in high school, and that's okay. You're still young and you're still learning. I thought that I knew everything in high school and I just was the basically best thing ever. But then I got out of high school and I was like, wow, there's a whole new world that I don't know about. But it's okay to not really know about things and still be learning because you're still young, and I think this book really embraces that. Next up is Dumplin by Julie Murphy. I think in high school especially is when you're really susceptible to issues with body image and feeling kind of down on yourself because of that. This book, it deals with a girl who she's bigger and she is kind of the self-proclaimed fat girl, and she decides to enroll in a pageant, and it's about her kind of becoming comfortable in her own skin, which I think in high school, I mean, you're changing still, your body is still changing, and you're really learning to love yourself and kind of be comfortable in the body that you were given. And I think that this book does a great job of addressing that and really helping you along on that journey. And I think seeing someone else, especially someone who is bigger, going through that and really becoming comfortable in their own skin makes you feel better about yourself and learn to love all that you were given, because I mean, everyone is different, and this book is really embracing that, and it just does a fantastic job of spreading that message of self-love. Next up is I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson. I actually included this book in my college must-reads, but I think that it's important for high school students as well, because you get to see, it's about twins and they're drifting apart, and you get to see them at two different points in their lives. So you get to see the one twin, it's told from earlier in their life, and the other twin, their perspective is told from later in their life when they're in college. So you get to see that high school, grade school, whatever, it doesn't last forever. There is life after that, and life gets better, and you grow and you move on, and you may grow apart, but there's nothing wrong with that because you're still changing, and you change every day and you become a different person. But that doesn't mean that you're becoming someone fake or you don't really know who you are anymore. It just means that you're growing up, which there's nothing wrong with that. And even though it is siblings in this book that are drifting apart, I think that the message still applies to even friends. You're not going to be friends with the same people that or you might be, but chances are you're not going to be friends with the same people that you were friends with in high school once you get to university, or in grade school once you get to, in grade school once you get to high school. Sorry, I got confused there. But your friend group is going to change, and that's fine because it changes with you, and that's kind of the beauty of it. You're finding who you really click with, and you will finally find that person that you click with, and it'll be great. And you'll learn that having fewer friends is better than having a whole group of friends, because having fewer friends means you have a few really true and loving friends rather than having this whole group of friends that you're just kind of a little bit close with. And friends and family are honestly the most important thing, and I think that this book does a great job of sending that message across, and also the message of discovering yourself. Self-discovery is huge, especially in high school, and this book really addresses that very well. Next up, I have My Heart and Other Black Holes by Jasmine Warga. This book takes a little bit of a turn because it deals with suicide, and it deals with two people who are planning to commit suicide together. And I know that especially nowadays in high school, depression is really rampant. Like, mental illness is a really big thing that is happening, and kids are suffering from it. And I think sometimes even on Tumblr it's romanticized a little bit, and that's a whole different discussion. But I think that this book really shows you that it's not the end of the world, and there are so many things that are important to live for, and I just think that that message is so important. And if you're struggling with that, then you should definitely read this book, or well, definitely go and seek help first, but you should read a book that you can kind of relate to and will really kind of help you out of the funk that you're in. Next up is The Duff by Cody Keplinger. This book, I think, it's more for mature high school students, I would say, but I think it really sends the message across, much like Dumplin, of being comfortable in your own skin. The Duff is the designated ugly fat friend, and the main character has been called that by someone that she isn't really friends with, like one of her enemies in high school, and she really fixates on that, and she becomes very self-conscious and is looking at her friends and being like, why don't I look like them, and like blah blah blah. But you really see her kind of come out of that, and you see her start to accept herself, which self-acceptance, I'm saying it over and over again because it is so important in high school. It's definitely the time to really reflect on yourself and kind of see who you want to be, what you want to do with your life, and if you like where you are, because you can change it still in high school. You can decide to do something completely different, and you can test out different things that you might want to do. Like, high school is kind of like a playground because you can do whatever you want, that you can change yourself, you can change your life in high school. I know that seems so philosophical, but like in university you can do it too, but like if you're, say you're studying, like, if I was studying English and all of a sudden I'm like, I kind of want to go into biology, I'd have to start all over. But in high school, if you decide that sooner rather than later, you can change it and it's no problem. It's just a little bit harder when you do it in university. You can still do it, but it's a little bit harder. Next up is Winger by Andrew Smith. This book teaches you a lot about self-acceptance and also acceptance of other people, which is hugely important because we live in such a diverse world, and I know that word has been like the buzzword lately, especially on BookTube. There's been tons of buzz around that word, which I think is a good thing. Like, I didn't like that, just a tangent here, but I didn't like that video that woman made, but it did start a conversation, which is great. So I think that now we're talking about diversity and it is awesome. And this book has an LGBTQ character in it, which is awesome. You want to read about those characters because those are going to be the people that you encounter in your everyday life, and you may be one of those people and you want to relate to those characters. And honestly, this book takes a really sad turn, but I think it kind of opens your eyes to the reality of oppression and how diversity is so important and how acceptance of other people is so important. And I think that learning to interact with older people is also so important because it can be really intimidating, but you kind of see him come out on top, which is great. And my final recommendation is Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson. This book is all about a girl who her best friend has gone missing. She's kind of disappeared, flown the coop, and she was really outgoing, her best friend, but the main character, she's really like to herself and kind of reclusive. But her outgoing best friend who has disappeared has left her a bucket list to complete over the summer. This book is awesome because it teaches you how to get out of your shell and how to not become reliant on other people. Because the main character really was reliant on her other best friend with her outgoingness to kind of get her out there. But you really need to get yourself out there and kind of do what makes you uncomfortable. And like life begins at the end of your comfort zone is one of my favorite quotes because it's so true. If you just stay in your comfort zone, you're not going to have any life experiences. You're not going to really live your life. So I think that this book has a great message of teaching you to do the thing that makes you uncomfortable and just go out there and live your life and don't rely on other people to do so. So I think this book is really, really important. So those are all of my must-reads for high school students. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I hope this was helpful to you. If you're in high school, then I hope that you liked these. If you've read any of these, let me know your thoughts on them or some books that you read when you were in high school that you think would really help other high school students. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!